Hi, I'm Coach Tina Shawson and welcome to my podcast. If you're in a season of change, growth, reflection, or even confusion, you're in the right place. Think of this as our little conversation, something that is honest, unfiltered, and grounded in the things we all go through but rarely talk about. Here, I get to show up as myself too, not just as a coach, but as a fellow human being navigating life, learning, unlearning, growing right alongside with you. So settle in and let's begin. The silent pressure to have it all by 30. I've spoken to a lot of millennials and Gen Zs. I think for millennials, okay pa. They understand that 30 is just a number, but for Gen Zs, 30 is a critical number. So why am I saying this? There's this silent pressure either brought to them by the environment or it could also be self-imposed that they need to be settled on or before 30. Settled meaning in terms of their family, in terms of their career, in terms of their personal goals. They should already be enjoying things beyond 30. There are things that I felt when I learned that. Number one, I'm so proud of this Gen Zs because that's how they think. Primarily, I think this is brought about by how they grew up in the digital age. Because Gen Zs are digital natives. Everything is fast. Everything happens all at the same time. So even their plans. Now, is that something that is bad or good? No. But I think to a certain extent, my point of view, and I'm seeing this with my children, I see them really try to do very good in their corporate life, do very well in how they do or how they manage their business, how they grow their business. If that is a self-imposed age, then I think it's something that is doing them good. However, I've seen also some Gen Zs getting stressed out because they're nearing 30. They need to be able to do this, have their own car, their own house, have their own family, their first child, on or before their 30th. So that's where it is becoming to be unhealthy. You see, whenever we have these kinds of plan and we compare ourselves with other people, that's where we feel that it's either we are at par or we are not enough. And that's where a certain silent nudging happens inside of us. So it is becoming to be unhealthy because of that comparison with other people. What some Gen Zs are forgetting is that each one of them is in their own journey. What is happening in his life is different from what is happening to other people, maybe of the same age. And because each and every one is in his or her own unique journey, there should be no point of comparison. And they need to choose not to compare themselves with other people. Because in internally focusing on themselves and how they journey, then they become more mindful of how they will navigate. I was thinking, and I am respecting the pressure that is self-imposed by the Gen Zs, your self-imposed pressure of you need to be able to achieve a lot before your 30th. There is nothing wrong with that. But as I look back, niisip ko nga nun, ano kaya objective ko nung magta-30th ako? And quite frankly, I just told myself, number one, I want to be employed. Number two, I'd like to be married between 25 to 30. Ganun lang kasimple. I want to have my own kids when I'm 28. And that happened. I married on the 27th and 28, I have my own baby. I have my 3 kids in the succeeding years. Ganun lang pala kasimple yung buhay ko nun, yung ambition ko nun compared to the Generation Z that we have now. And quite frankly, I admire, and I look up to you because ganyan yung pananaw nyo. I also want you to be mindful of yourself. Am I imposing too much on myself and thus missing the joy of life because of these things that I wanted to achieve before my 30th? That's something that I want you to think about. Ako, I would say not completely, but I've enjoyed my years before my 30th. And I think you also deserve that. You deserve to enjoy the years before your 30th. So how are you navigating your last few years before your 30th or your 30th year? I want you to be very concrete that 30 is just a number. 30 is bringing you to a new page in your own life, in your own development, in your own navigation, and in your own journey. So always remember that as you enter this new era of your 30th year, you may continue your journey. Maybe you would have other goals or additional goals. And that's perfectly all right. That's perfectly all right. Simply because you are in your unique journey. And regardless if this is you as a Gen Z, this is you as a millennial, your journey is yours. Ikaw ang mag-shape ng kwento ng buhay mo. And that could start coming from before your 30th, during your 30th, and even after your 30th. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope today's conversation gave you something to think about, something to feel, or something to grow from. If you resonate with this episode, share it with someone who might need it too. And if you want real human conversations about leadership, career, and life, make sure to follow my podcast, Ask Tina Shoson, so you don't miss out on the next one. This is Coach Tina, and remember, you own your life narratives. I'll talk to you in the next episode.